Welcome to Week 7 of the NHL season, where it feels like chaos has taken over the ice. From head-slashing incidents to epic on-ice brawls, it's safe to say that some players are giving the league a giant middle finger. So, buckle up as we dive into all the thrilling and outrageous moments that unfolded in the NHL this past week. In one corner, we had the Boston Bruins facing off against the New York Rangers, battling it out to claim temporary supremacy in the NHL. The Rangers had a statement to make, and boy did they deliver. With a dominating 7-4 victory, led by the likes of Kreider and Panarin, who each bagged 3 points, the Rangers soared to the top spot in the league. But the headlines weren't just about goals. It was Jacob Trouba's two-handed swing at Trent Frederick's head that had everyone talking. Trouba had a week that can only be described as a one-man wrecking crew, leaving the Flyers looking like toddlers trying to take on their older brother. Now, let's talk about this player who gave Frederick a whack to the head with his stick. That right there should have resulted in a suspension, but the NHL decided to slap him with a hefty $5,000 fine and no suspension whatsoever. It's just another questionable call by the NHL, and they've had their fair share of those this week. Before the season began, the NHL updated its guidelines, effectively restricting players from wearing anything that promotes causes of any kind on the ice. This included initiatives like cancer awareness, military appreciation, and the Pride movement. So when Fleury wanted to wear his native mask to honor his wife, the NHL threatened to fine him. But Fleury decided to go ahead and wear it anyway, delivering a giant middle finger to the league, even as one of the league's premier veterans. Now let's shift our focus to a game between San Jose and the Canucks that got really out of hand. We witnessed a classic line brawl. Elias Pettersson, who's been delivering some bone-crushing hits this season, caught a shark with a hit, and his teammate didn't take kindly to it. He stepped in on Pettersson, resulting in this beautiful mess. We don't see much of this anymore as the animosity in the league has decreased over the years. But there's nothing quite like the pure chaos that ensues when all 10 players on the ice get involved in a brawl. Unfortunately for the Canucks, they ended up losing this game to the Sharks, which is just embarrassing, no matter how you look at it. While the Canucks have been a pleasant surprise this season, their success has raised some eyebrows in the analytics community. The numbers suggest that they might be riding a wave of luck, especially due to the performance of Elias Pettersson. It's likely that they'll regress from their early season success, but only time will tell. Losing to San Jose certainly didn't help their case. Staying in the Western Conference, there was news that Chicago Blackhawks forward Corey Perry would be away from the team for an unspecified period. The situation is shrouded in mystery, as the Blackhawks haven't provided any clear information about it. The entire situation surrounding the Blackhawks is peculiar, and they've been struggling as a team. Things took a turn for the worse this week when they announced that Taylor Hall would be out for the remainder of the season due to an injury. On the bright side, Bod is scoring at a pace that rivals some of the greatest players to ever play the game for a rookie. He's achieving all this while playing with limited support. If he somehow manages to score 40 goals with the current talent around him, one can only imagine what he'll accomplish in just a few years. Now, if there's one situation that's spiraling out of control in the NHL, it's the Edmonton Oilers. They have the best player on the planet, Connor McDavid, displaying his frustration. The media and Twitter referees are engaged in debates over the questions directed at McDavid, and things have taken an ugly turn for the Oilers. Mentally, the top players on the Oilers roster are struggling. We recently made a video dissecting how the team is facing structural challenges, but they still possess the talent to turn things around. While it might seem grim now, they did manage a 5-0 victory against the Capitals, which could boost their confidence for the upcoming games. Speaking of the Capitals, they are another example of how unpredictable this season has been. If you had told me they would be one of the hottest teams in November, but have the worst-ranked power play in the league, I wouldn't have believed it. For as long as Alex Ovechkin has been with the team, he and their power play have carried the Capitals. However, recently, it's been the goaltenders Charlie Lindgren and Hunter Shepard who have propelled the Caps back into playoff contention. They are still struggling to score goals, and Ovechkin's declining goal-scoring rate is a cause for concern. As a side note, in fantasy hockey, I unintentionally auto-drafted Ovechkin as my first pick this year. And of course, this is the year he decides to slow down. Obi didn't hold back. He called out the young bucks of the NHL and pretty much claimed that he and Sid saved the league. He essentially threw down the gauntlet, challenging the new generation to prove him wrong. Frankly, he's absolutely right. No one has lived up to the hype in hockey more than the showdown between Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin. These two hockey legends went head-to-head in their prime, and it was a spectacle to behold. Now, if there's one team you should start fearing, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning. With a healthy Andrei Vasilevsky back in action after his back surgery in September, the Lightning completely dominated the Hurricanes in his debut. The game ended in an 8-2 victory for the Bolts, and they made history by being the first team in NHL history to score at least 8 goals on 14 or fewer shots in a contest, dating back to when shots were first officially tracked in 1955-56. Nikita Kucherov had an impressive 6 points, while Braden Point contributed 5. This team was buzzing with energy. In other exciting news, there's a report suggesting that the NHL All-Star Game Fantasy Draft might make a comeback this year. If that happens, someone needs to sign Phil Kessel immediately. Honestly, this is a fantastic idea because All-Star Weekend has often been dull and cringeworthy. These moments have the potential to build hype and create funny memories, like the time Ovechkin begged to be drafted last for a free car, only to be unhappy when he got picked. Fans would prefer to see such entertaining moments over some of the current All-Star Game activities. Remember earlier in the season when Mark Giordano got suspended for 4 games due to a headshot? Well, the Florida Panthers remembered, and Nick Cousins got his revenge with a massive hit. Ever since their playoff series last year, matchups between these two teams have been incredibly fun to watch. Both teams are exceeding expectations this season, and another playoff series between them would be pure fireworks. We also witnessed one of the best first NHL goals ever scored. Rookie Zach Benson pulled off an incredible move, going between the legs and scoring top shelf. This level of confidence and skill among young players entering the NHL nowadays is becoming the new standard. Finally, the Columbus Blue Jackets have been struggling, benching star players like Patrick Lane and Johnny Gaudreau. The Blue Jackets are navigating through a tough season, with a new head coach, Pascal Vincent, making bold decisions like benching these players. It remains to be seen whether this sparks something positive or adds to the turmoil in Columbus. As for the Toronto Maple Leafs, their Cup Parade plans have been officially cancelled after back-to-back losses to the Penguins and the Blackhawks. Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner have been underperforming, raising concerns among Leafs fans. But let's not get too worried. A minor winning streak of just 2 games would probably reignite the Cup Parade plans in Toronto. What's your take on the biggest NHL storylines right now? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more in-depth breakdowns of this week's NHL action, check out our other videos. We have some exciting content coming up, so be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be the first to watch. Thanks for joining us on this thrilling journey through the world of the NHL.